At exactly 2:17 a.m., a 911 operator received a call. There was no voice, only the sound of breathing, slow, uneven, terrified breathing. Then suddenly, a whisper came through, "He's inside the house," and then the call disconnected. Police arrived just minutes later, but what they found inside that house didn't make any sense, because the woman who made that call was already dead. This case became one of the most disturbing investigations in the area, not because of how brutal it was, but because of how impossible it seemed. A locked house, no signs of forced entry, no witnesses, and a phone call that should never have happened. Her name was Sarah. She was 26 years old. She lived alone in a small, quiet neighborhood, the kind of place where nothing ever happens. Her routine was simple. She worked during the day, came home in the evening, and spent most nights alone. Neighbors described her as quiet, friendly, normal. There was nothing unusual about her life, nothing that would suggest she was in danger. But sometimes, danger doesn't come from outside. Sometimes, it's already inside. On that night, everything seemed normal. Lights were off. Neighborhood was silent. Around 1:50 a.m., one of the neighbors woke up, not because of a scream, but because of a strange sound. A loud thud, like something heavy hitting the ground. They stayed awake for a few seconds, listening, waiting. But after that, nothing, no movement, no noise, so they went back to sleep. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the emergency call came in. The operator answered immediately, but there was no response. Only breathing, shaky, fast, panicked. Then, in a weak whisper, "He's inside the house," before the operator could ask anything. The call ended. Police arrived within minutes. They knocked on the door. No answer. They checked the windows, all locked. No signs of forced entry. Eventually, they forced their way inside. The house was completely silent, too silent, inside the bedroom. They found Sarah. She was lying on the floor, unconscious, not moving. The scene was disturbing, but something didn't feel right. There were no signs of robbery. Nothing was stolen. No broken furniture. No struggle. And most importantly, her phone was missing. Forensic experts later confirmed something shocking. Her estimated time of death was around 2 a.m., 17 minutes before the 911 call, which meant one thing: the person who made that call could not have been her. Police searched the entire area, interviewed neighbors, checked cameras, but nothing came up. No one saw anyone enter or leave the house. It was as if no one had ever been there. 2 days later, her phone was found in a trash bin 2 streets away. Police immediately analyzed it. The last activity, 2:17 a.m. -911 call. But something else stood out. Just seconds before the call, the front camera activated for 1 second. At first, the image looked useless, dark, blurry, but when enhanced, investigators saw something chilling. A man standing behind her, inside the room, watching her. Police returned to the house. This time, they searched everything again: walls, floors, closets, nothing, until one officer noticed something strange: a small panel near the ceiling, almost invisible. They opened it. Inside, they found something disturbing: food wrappers, water bottles, blankets, dust patterns showing movement. Someone had been living there, quietly, hidden, watching. Police checked old records. They discovered that a maintenance worker had access to the house months earlier. His name was Juan. He had keys, access, opportunity. Police tracked him down. During interrogation, he eventually broke. He confessed. He admitted everything. He had become obsessed with her, watched her daily routine, followed her. And one day, he made a duplicate key, entered the house, and started living in the attic for days, maybe weeks. Without her knowing, that night, she heard something, looked around, and then she saw him coming down from the attic. She panicked, grabbed her phone, dialed 911, but before she could speak clearly, he attacked. The phone dropped. The call connected. The breathing was hers. The whisper was real. He's inside the house. Those were her final words. Captured forever. On that call, the mystery was never about how the killer entered the house. It was never about how he escaped. The truth was far more disturbing. He didn't break in. He didn't escape. He was already inside, watching her, living above her, waiting. And in her final moments, she realized something terrifying. She was never alone. Not even for a second.